Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of One Pod Life. In this episode, I'm speaking to Pavan Sagoo, who actually went off to America to college at St Mary's College back in 2014. Since then, he's come back to the UK and he's playing mainly on the EuroPro Tour. Obviously, that tour, unfortunately, is going to be stopping now. So we had a little chat just before he was going off to the Tour Champs and EuroPro. We also talked about his time playing in MENA. If he's looking to get back out there and play on that tour as well. As always, we talked about his career to date and what his plans are for the future, and of course what his top tips are for any aspiring golfer who wants to turn pro. So stick to the end, listen to his tips, and I hope you enjoy this episode of One Pod Life. Don't forget to follow me over on Instagram at One Putt Life. Okay, hey Pav, and welcome to the One Pod Life podcast. How you getting on, my friend?
Yeah, not too bad. Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining, and hopefully you can tell us your story and the ups and downs of golf.
Yeah, I'll try my best to include all of that for you.
Good stuff. Well, let's start at the beginning, like I do on every podcast, is just talk about how you actually got into golf and any influences that were in your life at the time.
Okay, so I guess like probably most guys you've had on started because of one of my parents. My dad played quite a lot when I was younger, so I guess I used to just watch him hit balls at home. We had a net. He used to come back after work and practice relentlessly. So when I was 2.5, I picked up he got me rather some plastic clubs, and I just started hitting balls in our net. And then from there on, I guess I just really took onto the game, enjoyed practicing, and then joined my first club when I was about 5, Ealing Golf Club. Okay. Back then it was quite young, I think, to join. You had to be 12 or something, but thankfully they let me join when I was 5, and then we've been hooked ever since, really.
Wow, 5 years old. That's, like I say, most people say they join a club when they're like 12, 13, 14. No, straight in at the age of 5 in the club. I like it. And what club?
Quite young. Ealing Golf Club. So I live in Ealing, and it's been my home club for a while now.
Yeah, good stuff. What was the reaction to the members there when they saw his 5-year-old kid?
I think they were probably surprised. But from what I remember, I was able to hold my own and keep up with some of the members there. So yeah, it was good. I think I'm really appreciative to the secretary at the time, June, who made a special exception to let me join. And really grateful to Ealing for that, actually.
No, definitely. That's just amazing. I thought I could ride a bike at the age of 2 without stabilizers. I thought that was quite cool, but joining a golf club.
I couldn't. I don't know if I could really play, but yeah, I was a member.
I like it. Good stuff. Okay, cool. So those early years then, obviously, like you said, your dad was really obviously the main influence for you in hitting golf balls in the net indoors. How much influence did he have then going forward in sort of moulding you in your early years of golf?
Yeah, huge influence, really. He guided me through junior golf days and then into my early amateur career. He's always been very hardworking, worked 7 days a week, really quite absurd hours. And he's tried to instill a lot of those hardworking traits into me. And I think that really helped me growing up. Pretty much every day after school when we could go into the range. At times, looking back, I could probably say it was maybe over the top, a bit too much golf, not enough balance, but that's just how it was. And he was a huge influence. And I guess, without his help and guidance, I wouldn't have been able to then do the things I did in amateur golf and go to the States and eventually turn pro. So I wouldn't really have done any of this without him.
Yeah, good stuff. So what were those early years like? So you obviously, like you said, you joined the golf club at 5. How quickly did you progress in that environment?
Fairly quickly. I think luckily Ealing's always had a really good junior section. They've produced tons of good golfers, and I grew up around maybe like 20 other kids who were there every weekend. So playing competitions against each other, super competitive, and that was great. So by the time I was 9, I believe I got down to 10. Nice. And then scratched by 12, 13. And then I suppose the stereotypical route is to play club, county, regional, country, then and that's what I did. Yep. So was winning, Middlesex events, and then played for Southeast, and then played for England under 16, under 18s. And then when I was 18, went off to college. So it was pretty standard, like, progression wise for me.
Good stuff. Well, yeah, I was going to move on to talk to you about the fact you went off to America. You went to St. Mary's College in California in 2014. So you was 18 when you went there. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, I was just about to turn 18.
Turn 18. Nice. So yeah. What was the decision making to go out to America? I know a lot of players have done it. I just spoke to you a minute ago about a guy, David Wicks, I spoke to recently.
Yeah.
And he went over to America and he loved it. He was there for 6 years. But a lot of people only go for a year, 2 years, but you stuck it out as well. He was there for what, 3 years?
Yeah, 4 years. I actually wanted to do 5, but didn't work out in the end. So I did 4. Okay. Came back in 2018. And yeah, I mean, for me, it was always a goal of mine to go there and play golf and study as well. Something that my dad's instilled into me is the fact that I need to study and get an education first and foremost. Yep. So the States was a way in which I could do golf and study at the same time. I don't know if I would have been able to really do both had I stayed here and gone to university. So that was a factor in my decision. But every night or every Thursday to Sunday we'd be sitting up watching PGA Tour. I think that also made me want to go out there. Yep. I started traveling to the States when I was about 11 to play in the World Junior Championships every year. Played 7 times, or 6 times. That again made me want to go out there just because it is nicer, right? The weather's better, the courses are better, facilities are better, and the competition's better. So all of that kind of led to my decision to go there in 2014. And yeah, it was a no-brainer for me, and I'm so thankful that I went.
Okay, good. Were there any other offers on the table instead of California, or?
Yeah, I had a few. I was looking at South Florida, so quite close to where Dave was. Actually, he went to Jacksonville, I believe.
He did,
right?
Yeah.
So, and then South Florida was in that town, but a bit away from the actual Jacksonville campus. So I was looking there, looked somewhere in Houston, but for me, St. Mary's was academic, which was what I wanted. The weather was great. So Northern California is nice. It's similar to England in the winters in that you get a bit of cold, but not so hot as the South. And it was small. Class sizes were small. And it just ended up being a really good fit. It came out, just out of the blue, really. The coach got my email, sent me a message pretty late, and ended up committing. So, nice. But yeah, there were other offers, but yeah, that ended up being the perfect match.
You actually went on, I think you was for one season, you were actually the men's captain of the team. Yeah. What sort of did that bring in, and how did you feel about doing that for a season?
Yeah, it's actually I was, I guess, 2 seasons, because I had to share it with another roommate of mine for one of the seasons. So a couple seasons in charge, and it's weird. Like the first 2 years, I played really well, didn't study so much, went out a lot. Yep. I think of college golf, there's this triangle of socializing, golf, studies, and how do you it's really hard to juggle all 3. So you kind of pick 2 out of the 3. So first 2 years was going out, socializing, and golf. Studies kind of, weren't my priority, although they should have been. And the last 2 years when I was captain, obviously all of a sudden then I have to act as a role model for the teammates. Socializing kind of went out the door, and then I really focused on golf and studies. So it was great because it really, I had no choice other than to lead by example, and get discipline kind of went through the roof. And my golf, I think my 3rd year I struggled a bit. Okay. But then my last year I played really well. And it was obviously as a result of knuckling down a bit more. But obviously, a lot more responsibility, because the teams are big. You've got like 10 to 12 guys, and some of them can go off the rails at times, and you have to kind of control them. It's like being a parent to them, because they're obviously away from home too. So yeah, I mean, it was a lot to deal with, but I've always found myself in that type of role with captain of some of the under 16 matches for England, and then Middlesex. So yeah, I enjoy being in that position just because I tend to be on the more sensible side. So for me, it's not too hard.
Keeps you in check as well then.
Yeah, it really does. It does.
Love it. So you enjoyed, like you said, a good sort of 5 years out in America. You wanted to stay another, but it didn't quite work out. You came back to the UK 2018. And correct me if I'm wrong, but for what I can see, you've done a lot of obviously EuroPro Tour and satellite tours around the UK, but you also went out towards and played in the MENA tour as well.
Yep.
Now, how different was playing those sort of tournaments, obviously just being back from America, going to the UK and going to sort of Dubai sort of area? How's that transition? What's that like?
Yeah, it was quite difficult, to be honest, because I played my best golf in the States. I learned how to play well in the States. Won up until then everything I'd won in the States. So coming back to play EuroPro straight away was a bit of a shock to the system in that, you go from these long, narrow courses to really quite tight, fiddly, firm tracks. And I was a bit naive. I didn't really want to change the way I played. And, ultimately I didn't play very well for the first couple of years. Going out to the Middle East was a lot more similar to States in terms of climate and the courses, and I did enjoy it more. Later in 2018, I went to Asia as well to do the tour school and did quite well there, but I never ended up moving to Thailand to pursue the Asian tour route. So yeah, it took me a while. This year's really been the first full year I've played on EuroPro. The last couple prior to this, I've stopped due to injuries, and I think this year's the first time I've just kind of put my ego to one side and, been like, okay, this is how I have to play these courses. It's my only option at the moment. I'm not in the States anymore. And just a lot of, understanding how to play these courses. That's the biggest difference I found.
Well, I think it worked because obviously you ended up winning the PDC Championship at Abridge this year with a wonderful score of -18, won by 4 shots. So what was you thinking during that obviously that last round you were playing? At what point did you yourself to realise you were going to win the tournament?
Well, I didn't actually know where I was on the leaderboard until I hit my drive on 18.
Okay. That's a good place.
I didn't want to know because this year I've made enough real conscious effort to just play the course, stick to my game plan and not really take too much in. But yeah, after I hit my drive on 18, which is a shortish par 4, but I went for it because I didn't want the score to influence my decision. Then I asked what the score was. I was 3 ahead. And but yeah, in terms of last day, I hadn't really been, I guess because I hadn't had a top finish on EuroPro before, no one was expecting me to win. I'd already shot 10 under the day before. No one really is going to expect me to shoot another low one. So there's no pressure on me, right? So I just went out, hit one shot at a time, and ended up just shooting another low one. And it didn't really, I've done something similar in college. So to me, it was just like, I know I can do it. It was nice to see. The whole week was great.
Okay, cool. But going back to what you said about, like, you obviously put your ego to one side and change, and you kind of changed your game to fit the more golf that was over here in the UK. Did that almost as well reaffirm that decision was the right thing to do?
Yeah. You mean like when I won?
Yes. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because to be fair, like of all the courses on EuroPro that I could have won at, Abridge is the least likely I, would have thought I'd win. With it being tight, lots of 3-woods and 9s off the tee, which going back to 2018, 2017, I don't think would have suited me too well. Because back then I'd just take driver out, bomb it, find it, try and make a birdie. But it's been a tough old learning curve. And that's absolutely, it was the right decision to kind of put the ego to the side, 100%.
I've played Abridge a few times. It's not an easy track.
Yeah, no, it's not. And it was, some of those tee shots on the last day, especially through the turn 9, 10, 11, 12, they were quite nerve-wracking. If you've got trouble both sides. And 100% game plan for me this year has been huge. I mean, it's allowing me to stay in contention in events when I haven't really played too well, and just taking out these big numbers that I had when I first turned pro.
you teach me how to take those big numbers off? Because I've put a few up recently.
I don't know. I still have the odd one, but just got to stick to your game plan. Course management, smart decision making. I think is so underrated and underappreciated in professional golf. I think I've noticed a lot of guys just search to eliminate, the 1 in 10 bad shot, try and change the swing year round, but you can gain so much more from like dedicating time towards things outside of the swing, like managing courses, decision making when it comes to attacking certain flags and whatnot. You can gain a lot more from that. So yeah, I think in general, that's how you're going to keep those big numbers off the card.
Okay, that's good. Cheers for that little insight. So this year is coming to an end, I guess. You've got Tour Champs on the EuroPro, which I assume you're going to because you're sitting 10th in the Order Merit.
Yep. Going to be leaving in 2 weeks.
Yep, exactly that. Where obviously you've obviously probably already done your sort of homework then on the golf course. So where do you obviously don't give too much weight to your competitors, but where do you think you could shine on that golf course and then hopefully make your way into the top 5 to qualify for the Challenge Tour?
So from what I understand, it's a longer track. It suits a better ball striker. Ball striking is my strength by far, and I think on weeks that I do putt well, then I can take it really low. So just trying to get my game ready and trending in the right direction so that when I arrive there, playing solid. I think a lot of times you can kind of peak too early. It's hard to control that, but I'd rather not be playing out my skin now and get there. So lots of performance practice and just trying to get ready to keep my long game in check. Again, I think Tour Champs, there's no cut, I don't believe. So just got to plod along and keep it steady and try to get the putter hot.
Yep. Okay. So with the performance practice, then what are you looking for in that type of area?
So just really in practice, trying to implement as many elements of pressure as I can. And then being really specific when it comes to shot selection on the range. Like I work with Sam Truman, who's at Reigate Hill. Mm-hmm. And I've been seeing him regularly throughout the season this year. And it's really helped. I've seen him for quite a few years, but not this consistently. And we're doing a lot of practice in between events using TrackMan and, certain pins. You can't miss it, a certain side. And then that gives you a strokes gained score. So a lot of stuff like that, just simulating on-course scenarios in an on-course tournament environment, really. And that's the type of performance practice that I've been doing. Just so that when I'm on the course under pressure, I've already done it, really. Yep. So lots of that.
Okay, good stuff. I like it. So obviously I said the season's coming to an end now, and I'm obviously going to go to the Tour Champs. Obviously, trying to do your utmost and finish as hard as you can on the Order Merit. Now, obviously, sad news is the EuroPro is not going to be around next year. So it's a bit of a cloud at the moment as to what's going to be happening. But if in an ideal world, what would your plans be going forward for 2023?
In an ideal world, I think so. I have 2 opportunities to get Challenge Tour status, top 5 or around that in the EuroPro rankings.
Yep.
Because I imagine some guys in top 5 will get through to stage 3 European. So, somewhere around 5 would be good. Or I'm through to stage 2 of DP Tour Q School. So progressing through that will also get me a challenge card. And then I believe that if I play, good, I can get my main tour card. So that's the goal for me. And then after that, I've got Asian Tour Q School. So there's a lot to play for over the next few months. And in an ideal world, I think I'd at least like to get onto the Challenge Tour, to progress off of EuroPro, and in a perfect world, get onto DP or Asian. I feel like when my game's in a place where, if I manage it correctly and play well, I can definitely get through. So
okay, I didn't realise you got through to the next stage of the Q School. Apologies from my side.
Yeah, no, I didn't actually play in the Q School 1. I got through based off of my ranking at the time of entry, so top 6.
That's why
top 6.
I'll take that.
That would be why.
And when's the Asian Q School?
Asian Q School is beginning of January.
Okay.
And I'm doing the one that's just before final. At a course I played in 2018. So I love the area. I love the people there. And I'm probably going to go out a bit early if I can to try and get some good working, because I think next year, no one really knows what's going to happen now. The EuroPro is not here. I think the strength of Asian Tour and tours attached to that are only going to go up.
Yep.
I prefer that type of golf, similar to the States. So yeah, that's going to be a big focus of mine too.
Okay. Well, good luck. Good luck with all three of those.
Thank you.
No doubt you'll be fine on one of them. So we'll keep an eye out. So it's good. Okay, cool. So we'll move into another section that I've started to do on the podcast. Just some quick fire questions. I mean, there's 3 questions, and I won't sort of call them quick, but we'll just have a little bit of fun with them. So, you mentioned obviously your dad instilled that you education was key. So, if you weren't a golfer, what would you be and why?
I think I would probably like to be an architect. I've always been very into design and somewhat of a creative growing up. So something like down that avenue, although my dad would probably want me to be a doctor. I think that's what he told all my coaches growing up, that, I want to be a doctor. And one of my England coaches told me once, he was like, so you want to be a doctor? And I said, no, I don't want to be. I think my dad had told him. So.
Actually, architecture is actually one of my passions. I went to university graphic design.
Oh, wow.
And architecture always fascinated me. And I've always wanted at some point in my life, possibly, to become a graphical architect. So you're not a full architect. You haven't got to go do your actual proper licenses and all that sort of stuff. But you design them and hand them over to a real architect. That for me.
Yeah, and I think it'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Or anything, design related, I really enjoy. I just like doing creative stuff. So yeah, I'd probably enjoy doing something like that. Sorry about that.
That's all right, Norris. This is a bit of a deep question, really. If you could go back into one moment in history, what would it be, and why would you want to go there?
That's a tough one, but I actually can't think of anything at the moment, if I'm honest.
Okay. I'll rephrase the question. If you could go back and tell yourself something from when you was younger, what would it be?
I would try harder at school.
Yep.
100%. I think that's something I took for granted. I was lucky enough to be sent to a private school when I was younger, and I didn't really take it serious at all. I think because I always focused on golf, I didn't take my studies too serious. I thought I didn't really need them, but probably my biggest regret is not trying hard enough at school, and ultimately not getting the GCSEs and A-levels that I was capable of getting. Okay. That's probably something I really do regret. Okay. Because ultimately, my golf could have been as good as whatever back then, but it doesn't make a difference when you turn pro. I'd rather have turned pro with better grades and a slightly worse golfing resume.
Well, sorry, we'll get you into the architecture school. We'll be fine.
That sounds good.
And the last question would be: is what's your go-to meal after a tournament round?
After a tournament round, it's a bit depressing because usually it's something from a petrol station on the way home when I'm filling up my car. Yeah. In an ideal world, it would be some of my mum's Indian food, probably. Yeah, she makes some nice dishes, something like that.
Actually, talking about David again, he actually went for a curry as well. So
yeah, no, I probably would go for that. But at the moment, there's nothing close. It's a shell sandwich and some crisps. No. That's about it.
Now, One Pod Life is brought to you in partnership with Energy Golf, the leading golf development platform. They are committed to providing a service that allows you to reach your maximum potential by improving your mindset, creating physical longevity, and funding your golf career. What they've done is take professional tour team experience and brought it to you through their platform so you can have your very own tour team in your pocket. Energy Golf offers the ability to learn from leading professionals in the fields of fitness, nutrition, breathing, caddying, psychology, business, as well as proven tour winners and many more. There are also courses based around the mental aspects of golf, such as mental toughness, emotional control, and self-esteem. Visit energy.com to learn more, and to claim your exclusive 1 month free trial, simply send an email with the subject OnePodLife to info@energy.com and enjoy. Now let's get back to the podcast. Pav, thank you very much for sharing a small insight into your story and your golf plans for this year, and obviously going forward with all the Q schools and the Champs Tours as well. So fingers crossed you get through all three of them. But before you go, we're going to move into another section, which is the main reason why I started the podcast, which is to try and learn from professional golfers such as yourself, who are in positions where I want to be. And I'm sure there's more people in the world like me who are trying to do that as well. So if you could give an aspiring golfer who wants to turn pro 3 top tips to help them, what would they be?
Okay. One, I would say create a team around you and stick with them throughout the entirety of your career. So that could look something like having a strength and conditioning coach, a mindset coach, performance coach, or a swing coach. I think it doesn't really matter, like, how prestigious the certain coach is. You can go see the best coach in the world. It might not make a difference, but having someone who can learn your body, your mind, and your swing throughout the course of your career is so invaluable. I think that's something I wish I did a bit earlier, although it was a bit harder being in 2 countries. But if you can, I'd say it's really important to build a team and just keep them constant throughout the entirety of your career. It's invaluable.
Okay, that's a good one. Thank you.
Number 2, I'd say find balance. I think a lot of guys fall into the trap of just, doing golf. Someone once told me, like, golf needs to remain what you do, not become who you are. And I agree with that a ton. I think it's fine when you're playing well and, your life is just golf. You're completely consumed by it. But when you're playing bad, you don't really have an escape, I think it can get dangerous. And that's when people tend to start to develop a really negative relationship with the game. And I think you need different outlets to just, let off steam, enjoy yourself. Golf for the most part is not very fun. You're not really always going to be winning. It's a lot of losses and a lot of downs. So I'd say finding balance is key. It's not going to make your golf worse at all. In fact, it's probably going to help. So I always advise people to just, find balance. I think that's really important.
Okay, that's a good one.
And then third, I guess, just it takes what it takes. You've got to put the work in. That's what Claude Harmon told me once. And I was like, oh, wow, that's, it's pretty true. It takes what it takes. Like, it's pretty simple when you think about it. There's always people who are going to be outworking you. I think, you got to work smart too, but ultimately, like, the more you put in, the more you're going to get out in this game. So just got to work your tail off. In a smart manner.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. Okay, Pav, thank you very much for coming on the podcast. And like I said, give us
thanks for having me.
I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. And good luck.
That's great.
In the coming weeks. And I'll be looking out for those scores. And we'll see you out on the Asian Tour or on the DP World Tour.
Thank you, and have a good winter.